Willie Montague.
And I'm Shakea Hinton.
You already know if you're looking for safe, watered-down commentary, you're in the wrong place. We challenge narrative, expose the noise, and talk about what actually matters. Buckle up. It's time to cut through the chaos. This is Americana. All right, topic one today, the birth rate crash in America headed for population collapse, Black women in the unemployment crisis, American teens are addicted and big tech loves it, and then Black women in healthcare. I'm seeing a little pattern here. Well, without further ado, Shakea, let's get into this. There's something taking place, and it is time for us to have that discussion. There is a birth rate crash. Birth rates in the U.S. have hit historic lows, and economists warn America won't have enough workers to support Social Security, the military, or the economy. It's a national threat, and Democrats mock anyone who talks about family stability.
That's shocking. That Democrats, you point out Democrats is the one that's mocking this crisis. What facts do you have to back that up with?
Shakea, it is obvious, and I said this on yesterday, that when we talk about the family unit, everything the Democrats do is opposite of the family unit. Do you not think that?
No, I don't think that.
So what do you think that they're promoting?
So working families, emphasis on families, right? Because you're saying that there's a birth rate decline. Are you saying that the Republicans are the only ones who are upholding family values?
Yes. You know why? Because we're not the ones standing on corners advocating for abortion.
Okay. So how is the decline our fault?
It's
because
your
we're
fault
advocating
because
for
you're advocating
abortion?
it. Yes. Because if the birth rate is low, it's because you're killing the baby before the baby can even be born.
No, so there are other factors other than abortion that is the reason for this decline.
I would love to hear this decline.
So let's talk about that.
Okay.
So I think this is not a partisan issue. This is a national issue, right? If you're saying that the birth rate is declining, it is not just the Democrats who are choosing not to have kids. It is also Republican families, independent families, Green Party families who are saying the economy is too high for me to bring in 8 kids, 6 kids, as our great-grandparents did.
We're just talking
back
about
in the
2
day.
kids, but Shakea, if we be
2
honest
kids is
here,
a lot
if
these days.
we be honest here, we had the late great Charlie Kirk that mentioned to have kids, have multiple kids, get married, stay married, and go that route. Biblical principles, right? But if we go back to simply where this is, the birth rate is low, not just, and I do believe it's party lines, because we see it more with the left-wingers that are promoting that people, basically singlehood and the welfare state.
No.
Over and over.
It's not just that. It's about the freedom of choice. Now, we, women in particular, have the choice to either become mothers, focus on a career, or just live their lives freely.
Why can't they do both?
They can do both. However, the economy at this point does not allow them to choose just one facet. They have to, they have to choose one facet. They can't be a mom and a wife and an entrepreneur. They, at least at this point in time, they have to choose one. Why? Bills are high. Childcare in itself is a mortgage payment. I myself, I have a husband who is a working person in our household, along with myself, and we have 3 beautiful kids. It takes our income and some to ensure that our family is staying afloat. We are considered to be middle class. So imagine if there is a single mom who is working full-time, has kids, not just because of choice. She may be single because she's a widow. She may be single because of choice, right? But at the end of the day, it's her choice. You can't force people to have kids now because the economy is too expensive.
This is what I'm trying to get to, Shakea. To me, that's bullcrap.
Okay.
Because I feel like if we continue to act like we cannot stabilize and thrive in a place like this, and I don't know everybody's belief out there, but I can tell you 100% sure that even in this economy, there is a way to maneuver where people can thrive. They can.
So what is that?
Survive.
What is that solution, Willie?
It is being able to sit down, have a conversation, readjust our income, readjust the conversation where our economy is, because throughout the ages,
policies determine the economy.
And
Willie.
policies have been dictating everything from the beginning of creation and the beginning of America, maneuver past that.
And with that, there is an evolution that every year things increase in price. We are not at the same, that is normal, right? So why is it normal for that to increase, but the way in which a person decides or when they decide to have a family, that shouldn't change?
Because...
Do you have children?
Now, you know.
Do you have children?
I have children.
No,
I have other people's children.
No.
Yes.
Okay, other people's children. But do you have biological children?
No.
Okay, why is that?
I don't have biological children because I'm not married. That's why I don't have biological children.
Let's talk about it. Okay, you're not married,
Correct.
one, and then what else?
That's it.
You're not married.
I'm not married.
And you're not married by choice?
I'm not married by choice, yes.
Okay, so why does that apply to you and that should not apply to women?
But the choice that you're talking about is
hypocritical.
Which is not. Because when you talk about men have an option here too. Because we're not talking about just women. I'm talking about the birth rate, which
men are also having vasectomies.
Again,
they are. They're having vasectomies because one, the affordability of children is too expensive.
You think that they're cutting their testicle cords because they don't want to have children because of the economy?
Absolutely, Will.
Shakea,
it's reversible. A vasectomy is reversible.
It's just not real to me that in 2025, people need to realize we are seeing a decline in birth rates. We need children to rise up and be able to go forward.
So if we're seeing a decline in birth rates, then talk about the children that are currently in the foster system. What about that?
Okay, people need to go out and foster them and adopt them. The same thing that I do. There's no problem with that.
Why should they?
Why should they? Yeah. So that they're not in the foster system. It's simple.
Okay, so if you don't want them to be in the foster system,
that percentage of that, Shakea, because I know where you're going, that percentage does not add up to the fact that there are people who are good mothers, good fathers that will do what they need to do. We cannot look at a certain segment of people and say that's the reason why people should slow down on having children.
So did you hear yourself? I need us to make sure we tag
did you hear me?
Because you're saying that choice is at the matter. People are deciding not to have children because of whatever factors. This is not a partisan issue. This is not a Democratic issue, Willie. This is not a Republican issue. This is a national crisis.
No,
why?
It's a national
because the economy is at the brink of collapsing.
It's not.
Who's going to bring children in this world and they can't afford to take care of them?
The economy is not crashing.
That is my question.
It is
Who is going to bring children into this economy and they cannot take care of them?
The economy is just fine.
A solid daycare per week is close to $300 a week. That is not fake news. I am a mom of 3 kids.
There's resources that is out there.
My youngest child is 4 years old. We just stopped paying daycare that was close to $300 a week.
There's still resources. There's still resources. At the end of the day, we need children. We can go to another topic right now.
You ain't.
Because I'm not talking from a biased lens. I'm not talking from a biased lens.
You're talking from a biased lens that you have not actually endured.
Well, I have endured it.
The kids you are taking care of, Will, are coming to you with parents who have already given up their right to take care of them.
That's not true.
So you don't know what it's like to birth a child, put them in daycare, take care of them from the time they are born up until they actually leave the household.
I understand what it takes to go through the process. So when you experience life in that lens, then let's have this conversation. Well, when you stop trying to want to advocate to kill them from the womb, I'm not advocating just for that. I'm advocating for choice. You said you want to move on. Let's move on. Black women and the unemployment crisis. Let's talk about it. Black women is under attack, I guess. Since February, the unemployment for black women has reached a historical high. What say ye? Oh, let me take a drink of water because you got my pressure. Take all the what you need. So since February, this is when President Trump decided to do a massive layoff with the federal employees, starting with the DEI initiatives being taken away. Since then, the number for black women who are unemployed has skyrocketed to over 7.5%. Do you not see that as a targeted attack towards black women in the labor force? I just don't understand, because you just a few minutes ago, you said it wasn't a party issue. Now we're going here, and now it's a thing of race, right? So now black women in particular are now not being able to thrive because of why?
They are impacted the most out of
what?
any other demographic of women. If you look at the Great Recession, Black workers in particular were the hardest hit during the Great Recession. When we look at 2020, when COVID was a thing, and obviously we're still seeing the effects of that, in 2020, Black women were second. Actually, no, we were leading in unemployment, second to the Hispanic population. Black and brown are typically the main demographic of people who give like this, the temperature of where the economy is.
Shakea, just a few months ago, I was listening to another show, and in that same thing, they were just saying how Black people, Black women are now thriving. Now they're not thriving. But that goes back to maybe it's because we have to go to break, but maybe it's given. We'll follow back. We're going to come back. Let's take a quick commercial break. When we get back, we'll finish up from there, talk about American teens are addicted and big tech's love and Black women and healthcare. Stay tuned. This is Americana. Ding, ding, ding. Round two. So we're talking about the unemployment of Black women has reached historical highs.
Yes.
So let's go back into it.
Yeah. Before we went to commercial, you were cut off. You were trying to finish your statement.
Yeah, I was saying that I really want to dive into this because I want to have the conversation of why it seemed like is it because at one point Black women were indeed being, and I'm not going to use that word because I would hate for y'all to take offense, but were they being at the home and the man was going out as working and that was where that showed, and now they're going into the workforce and now they're able to get the numbers? Why is it that now these numbers are being calculated in this way? Because I promise you, I just heard not too long ago a whole show about how Black women rising up, we're now getting out here, we're getting to work, we're entrepreneurs, we're becoming millionaires, and now to hear this, so that's why I'm saying, what has changed over the last quarter?
Trump has changed over the last quarter.
This was thriving just a quarter ago. Trump been in office.
Let me finish. He's been in office nearly a year.
Okay.
Right? Okay, so February is when he made the drastic decision to cut over 300,000 women from various DEI programs. A large number of women were working in the federal sector. Okay, you have private sector, public sector. A large number of Black women were working in those sectors. Since then, the number has declined, not just because of Trump, but because of where the economy is. You see that in the nonprofit sector, there are a lot of corporations or organizations who are shifting funding, right? Then you have in the healthcare. We now just saw a list of industries where Trump is saying, well, not Trump, the administration is saying that they are changing what is considered to be professional degrees and so forth. So a lot of Black women hold degrees in nursing, so the medical field. What is it, Lord? And other sectors of the economy.
Do you really feel like this is like he has just picked Black women and targeted Black women to put them on a decline?
Absolutely.
I just don't. It just so
it's not just Black women.
So he wants Black men to thrive and Black women not to. I'm confused.
Trump. I'm going to choose
be careful how you talk about Papa Trump.
Yeah, that's your daddy. I don't want to disrespect your daddy. Trump does not favor anyone of color.
That's not true.
Unless, no. It is very true. Historically, that has been very proven, Will.
What is written in a history book?
No. His actions show that.
What action?
His actions show that.
Out of any president,
because
you don't want to talk about the five. Okay, because you start talking about Trump. I just want to know the fake news.
It's not fake. Statistically, 300,000 women in counting, black women in particular,
because of why, though? You mentioned it in the beginning, because we don't need a whole division in the federal government to have DEI. I know people want to say that the white people were benefiting from more than the black people, but if that point is true, then how come you're saying that the black women are now unemployed because these were 300,000?
Do you understand what DEI stands for?
I get what it stands for, and I know it's more than just dealing with the color of skin. It's dealing with disabilities and such and such. However, we do not need just a division to tell us about equality when we have state laws that is in place and we have individuals that can be able to do that.
State laws in place.
There are
but a lot of those civil laws currently that you're referring to are being challenged in court to actually be reversed. So you're saying that DEI is no longer necessary. If it wasn't necessary, it wouldn't be challenged right now.
It's not.
It wouldn't be on the chopping block.
It's not. We're not living out there. As I've said this before, I'm not walking out of my house in fear that some white man's going to walk down the street, water hose me, hang me up on my tree, and then go out and take a picture of it and send it to my mother. I'm not concerned of that.
I pray to God that we never have to revisit this clip and that be your fate. And I'm not wishing
it ain't gonna be my fate.
I'm not wishing that on you, my brother. I promise you from my deepest part of my heart. You are saying that boastfully. But yet you're able to say that because you live currently in a blue city and within a red state, but should you go outside these state lines, I want to see if you would still have that same tone, if you decide to go run in a neighborhood for a jog.
If you
decide to get lost in a city.
What is this, the Colin Kaepernick story?
If you decide to get lost in a city, just by happenstance, in a very southern state, after dark, I want to see if you would still have that same tone.
And you know what? The tone I'm going to have is I believe in my Second Amendment. You run up on me and I'm going to shoot a hole in your head. And I can tell you that off the street. Let's talk about American teens are addicted and big tech loves it. Teen depression is skyrocketing, attention spans collapsing, and Democrats still protect the tech companies making billions off of children. Now, what do we have to say about
I am just really perplexed why there seems to be such a shift in blame of everything that seems to be going wrong. It is always either the Democrats or it's the extreme leftists or it's whatever you decide to call us on a particular day.
No names.
Why is it that this can't be a national crisis versus there being a party issue?
Shakea, it is a national crisis, but
yet your question is phrased as it being a Democratic issue.
I mean, I wasn't even finished.
Please.
But it is a national crisis. However, we have people on the national level who is on one side of the fence, who is the individuals that are the problem. And that's what I'm saying. It is national, just like healthcare, it's national, just like homelessness, it's national. But when you have these blue cities and these individuals who pushing, because most of these people that's Democrats don't even believe human trafficking exists.
Oh, Willie.
I'm being serious.
Oh, Willie,
this is something that I find. I'm just you can call it trolling, whatever you want to.
Willie,
but I know without
of that. You can't possibly think that, Willie.
I'm gonna sit.
If that is the case, then why are the Democrats so adamant, and even some of the Republican people so adamant about the Epstein files being released? Why was it?
You know why they're adamant about the Epstein files being released? Because they're hoping that they can find President Trump in there so they can file claims against him.
I don't think it's just Trump, because we've seen time and time again that allegations and court issues go against Trump. And he has people in place that are blocking all of those things. So nothing is going to happen to Donald Trump.
Well,
that is very fair.
I'm glad you
I think all America time has proven that to be true. But nothing is going to happen to him. I think what the Democrats and some of the Republicans who signed on to this to be released, what they're looking for is justice for the victims who are still alive, who have to see the people who assaulted them on a daily basis, whether they are in their churches, whether they are on the news, whether they are sitting in high places, and they are still reliving the trauma.
Shakea, I'm all for justice too. I never said that. I want anyone. I run an organization that also fights against human trafficking, and I want to see that these people be put out there, their testicles
here you
get
are.
cut off,
Here you
and then
are.
they be in the middle of the street and with a firing squad. I'm all for that. So no one can tell me, well, hey, that's Uncle P.
Yeah.
So no one can tell me about fighting against that. But at the end of the day, these are the same individuals who have fought against what we've stood for as far as bringing the cartels that they continue to act like is not existing. Those are individuals that's also raping up children. They're coming over the border, but we're just a melting pot. Just let the illegals come in and rape up our children.
Well, we don't have to have illegals to come in and do that. We have a sitting president who fondles children and is still currently running.
I'm sorry,
Obama. We can go ahead and go to this next topic.
Biden is not in office. I think you got confused about who's in office.
Extremely important.
So let's get into this important topic. Black women in healthcare. Black women have often been denied the proper assessment and care during a medical crisis. I see that black women is on the conversation today.
It is.
Okay, so why do you say they've been denied access?
Well, maybe because a friend of mine actually was denied care recently. And she went to the emergency room, complained of chest pains and all of those things. They sent her home, said that it was the flu. A couple of days later, she was found dead by her husband. That is one story in thousands of stories that actually target black women. Black women are not respected for the pain that we endure, whether it's in childbirth or whether we are sick. Just recently, it was a media sensation a couple of weeks ago of a woman who was actively in labor, and a white nurse was sitting there just as calm as a Sunday morning.
I saw that. Yeah.
You saw that, right? 10 minutes later, the woman gives birth.
I'm not in agreement with this, but I want to say what I'm getting ready to say, and this is not in regard to what you said, and blessings to the family and praying for the family, but I want to say this in alternative. For so long, the black man has been made, and I said this before, to look like we are the scum of the earth. We're low down, we're dirty. We put on child support. We're no good. We just a bunch of niggas. We ain't doing nothing. But let me tell you something. At this very moment, if we want something to change with our black women, we need our black men to stand up. But we need the black women to allow the black men to do what they do without being belittled, without being disrespected, without being torn down and thought that we are useless in the household. So if you want to see something take place for black women, the first thing we need to do is restore the nuclear family.
So Willie, I'm not sure how we transition this to be a misogynistic
It's the same thing. I just wanted to be clear because
I know we got like 30 seconds.
You're talking about black women.
I'm talking about black women in healthcare.
And that's the reason, because we have to protect our black women.
Black men in this sense. Woo! We're going to have to revisit this tomorrow.
We will revisit. It's a wrap.
We're going to have to revisit
That's a wrap for today on Americana. I'm Willie Montague.
Yeah, I'm Shakea Hinton.
Thank you for choosing Real Conversations over Manufactured Narratives. Join us tomorrow on AFRO TV. Same time, same place. Until then, stay alert, stay fearless, and never back down from the truth. Have a good night.